Hi, it is Neil Walters with neilsvideos.com. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of getting tired of TownStar right now. Nothing that they're necessarily doing wrong, but having 12 weeks of contests in a row, it's just kind of wearing me out. I'm losing interest every week. I'm like, okay, they got new things. It's like, I really don't care. It's like, do I really want to learn how to work with ore and panners and forges and all that? It's just kind of like more of the same right now. So I am just sort of losing my interest slightly. But anyway, they drew this little chart, which is kind of like some of the charts I've drawn for you in the past. They don't show how many items are required, but since it is a contest this week, I'm going to go ahead and play with it today. It's Monday, and I'm going to see what these new entities do and see if I can make a few mistakes today before the live contest tomorrow. Every week I have a good excuse for not doing well in the contest. Like last week, my sister came on Wednesday and I was doing stack boxes. And so, Tuesday I had my town set up pretty good. I tweaked it a little Wednesday, but not being here, I had to, I wanted to take her a few places in town. And anyway, it just kind of messed up my game for last week as well. So this week, again, I don't know. I just don't care that much, but I will play and we'll just see how we do. So it looks like we have to have an ore storage, and the first thing we'll start with is a panner. And I think I heard that the panners are going to pan, and I think the panners are going to get their, they're going to pan from a pond, I think I heard. So let's go see. Maybe it's the river. Let's see what happens. So we're going to see if we can find a panner in the game. So this again is a town that I've had going actually for a few weeks. I just deleted some of the wineries that I had in here when I was practicing wineries. And so now I want to add a panner. And so you go over here, there's this new screen here they've added. And see, there's the copper panning site. So, and there's the ore storage. So I think we have to have the panner to do the panning. And then I think the ore that he pans has to go in the ore storage. And of course, they're not using the storage of the NFTs we paid for, so I'm sure they're going to try to sell us one of those soon. So I'm also just getting a little tired of like all these NFTs they just keep throwing at us every week. Yeah, they're all nice, but it's just starting to be overload, right? To me, it's like I can't buy them all. So let's put the panner by this little pond I have over here, and let's just see what happens. Sorry, it was already here. Let's click panner. He doesn't cost a whole lot. Maybe he's kind of like the fisherman. And since I'm not doing all these ores anymore, I can remove. Since I'm not doing, glass factories, I don't need all these sand mines over here. I don't believe. And let's put the ore storage right here. And I'll come back in a minute when those get built. Okay, so here's our little panner guy. So let's click craft to see what he can do. And it looks like right now the only thing he crafts is ore, and he's going to need a bucket of water. So I guess that's really the only reason he needs to be next to a pond is to get the bucket of water. Let's see what he starts doing. Just for fun, let's add one by the water tower, and I think he'll probably do just as well by a water tower then. Which doesn't, again, make as quite as much logical sense. I guess he's got his own, I guess he's got his own little pond, basically. So see that little blue thing there? I guess that's where he's panning for his gold or his copper or whatever. And so you just need the water next door to help him do his panning as a resource. So let's see what's happening here. We did craft. Why don't we see it moving? I thought I did make. Okay. There it goes. 15 seconds. Countdown. It's pretty fast. Let's do the same thing on this by the tower here. Let's do make. That one. Sometimes, that's it. When there's only one item, I think they automatically start making it. So I think what happened was it was already making ore, and I clicked the button to make it, and I really clicked stop by mistake. So now what's he going to do? Carry it over here, I assume? I mean, in a way, it is fun learning new things. But again, it's like when there's a contest tomorrow and you only have so many days to play with everything. Just not enough time in my week, anyway. Okay, it says ready. So now I'm guessing there must be a worker that has to carry it from here to here. So let's go add a worker building here, whatever it's going to be called. I'm guessing it's a panner house. Okay, so that looks like a worker. And I bet he's going to be the one that carries the ore. So that kind of follows the model of how they do other things in the game. Be back in a second. Okay, this is the panner house now. It's about to be built. It's done. There comes the worker, and sure enough, he heads toward there. He grabs the copper, and guess what? He's going to carry it to the storage. So that's pretty normal. Now, probably he will come down here. Yeah, he's going to come down this paved road, and he's going to grab an ore out of this little panner here. What do they call it? Copper panning site. So this guy is the panner, and who knows? I guess that guy has his own worker that's a panner. I don't even like that word panner. It just sounds kind of stupid. I know they're panning for gold, but in the real world, are they called panners? Okay, so now we've got 3 copper ore already in our little deal there. So let's go back to the diagram. So what else do we need now? So panner site. Okay, it looks like you're going to be able to pan silver, but maybe they haven't deployed that version of the program yet because silver was not an option just now. So it looks like I'm going to need a forge, and I'm going to forge copper ore into real copper, like copper metal. And then we're going to turn copper into copper wire. You're using a wire mill, and then we'll get into the jewelry as the last step. So now I need a forge and then eventually a wire mill. So I don't know what I'm doing, and again, that's why I'm practicing. I'm just going to add some of this stuff right here. So there's the forge. I bet he needs electricity. I'm just guessing, right? So maybe we'll put him over here by the refineries. I'm guessing he's kind of like the pottery house, where they make the ceramic molds. They need electricity, but on the other hand, no, actually, it didn't say that. It said it needed wood. So let's let the thing get built. Let's see if I have any lumber here ready to go. I got 20 lumber. I think I can start deleting all my iron ores over here. It's kind of confusing that they have iron ore, now they have copper ore, and it's created by totally different methodologies. So rather than using mines for the new types of metals, they decided that they would pan for them. Okay, whatever. So I'll delete these offline. Okay, so here comes our forge. About 5 seconds left to go. Let me turn it around so he's not hiding behind the smoke here. Here we go. There's our forge. So do we have to click craft? Go down here and say craft, copper and silver. So how did we get silver? Oh, maybe they added silver to the old type of mines. We'll have to go figure that out. So here, it's going to take 5 copper ores and 1 wood to make a piece of copper. Those things are so similar. I mean, when they have the icons over here and you're trying to find them, see that little picture and that picture? I mean, I can see there's differences, but my gosh, they're very much the same. That kind of almost upsets me when they do that. All right, so here we go. We're waiting on our 1 wood, and we don't need electricity, okay? So it doesn't need to be anywhere near a power plant. If anything, he just needs to be close to wood, and I should have probably put him over here. So Let's build another one over here by my storage unit. 5 lumber. It's all the same as a logger, basically. 5 of everything. 5 logs, 5 wood, 5 energy. I'm going to go see if I can read up on the silver. Okay, thank goodness for Discord. So I asked the question here, and someone said there's actually 2 different panning fields, one specifically for copper and one specifically for silver, and you have to build each. Okay, so back to my page. So just like we built that there, let's build the other one. So we're going to go back to the screen. Oh, and yeah, see there it says copper panning site. So now we should be, yeah, silver panning site. Huh? But that's weird to me that they would be 2 different buildings, because the model of the game so far is you just craft something different from there. This one does cost more. It takes the same amount of stuff to build it. Anyway, I'm going to stick it over here. It's probably not a good idea to put it next to my crops. But let's see what happens. I went ahead and built one of my mines back over here, but we don't need that. So I thought maybe that's where the silver was going to come from. Wow, my little storage is already full of copper. Here, those copper guys come, seems like a lot faster than my little, oh, I didn't turn my forge on. So let's go there and say craft copper. And down here, I think I still have this forge on. And here's the effects. This is where we really need, I'm sure he'll update it. Dubstep Rod's playbook. I don't think he has all these new things in there yet. He's probably feverishly working on that today. But I don't think, from what I just read a while ago, I don't think you want these close to pollution, which again seems contradictory to me, what I would think. So up here, let's see how fast you see. Now, see, the other thing that's been bugging me lately is the timers. Like, they used to have them like nice and red and green and all that. So let's check the timers on these 2 forges. That one's green. And see, it's taken about 25 seconds. Now, let's see how long this one down here takes in the polluted area. And we just have to wait a few minutes for him to go gather all his copper. Meanwhile, okay, here's the silver coming in. We may not have room for it because our storage is full. So it looks like we're going to have the old issue, kind of like with water barrels and with energy, is that we're going to be storing 2 different things in the same storehouse, and we're always going to have an issue of running out of storage here. So we're going to have to put auto sell on each of these to make sure they don't fill up. Silver ore looks like they take almost the same amount of time to make. I'm glad I had this little town kind of, again, this is kind of a half-baked town that I can kind of do anything with. And it's been on the playtest server for a few weeks. And so each week I can just kind of come here and get rid of some things and add some new things. I don't have to start all the way from scratch. So that's very nice. Okay, we got 3 out of 5. And there's our little worker. Actually, someone else had made a comment in the Discord that all the little coppers and ores look kind of like turds. So I think I agree. And the other people were saying they were too similar to each other. Well, that's going in 25 seconds as well. So it doesn't seem to hurt being by the refineries. It doesn't seem to help either. Okay, so let's add another one, because I think we're going to need one for our what do you call it, silver as well. I'll keep pausing the video so you don't have to watch that. Okay, the comment back up here, like I was saying, the copper and the silver are going to get mixed up in the storage units. So we're going to have to go set up our auto cell as soon as we start making that. Otherwise, probably one of them might fill up before the other. So see here, this is what I was talking about, how these look so similar. How do you tell which one's copper? I think that's copper, this is silver, but especially when they're shaded out like that, right? There, no, it tells you that's silver. Okay, so let's sell when we get 10 of those. Or actually make it like, let's make it 12 and 13. And copper, well, this is not copper ore, this is copper itself. So let's set that at 13. It looks like all my copper ores already been sent out to the forges, so I don't have any to set the. That's the other thing, by the way, just back to little stupid things. They don't let you set the auto sell on something you don't have. So why can't we just come somewhere and set auto sell on everything, even if we haven't created one yet? That's just kind of like, to me, kind of like a bad planning. Okay, so here's the little forge, almost done. Okay, this is my second forge on this border over here, and I'm going to make it do silver. So silver only takes 2. Interesting. 9 seconds and 2 silvers make a silver, but copper is 5 copper ores in 27 seconds. I guess you'll have to use that when you kind of do some math there when you do your planning. So the next thing we're going to need is the wire mill. Stick it over here as well. Looking ahead, we're going to need a jewelry table, I think it's called. Maybe that's kind of like a mixing tent, probably, where you have like a worker working on it, and then you have a jewelry store. So jewelry crafting table, 10 lumber, 10 copper, and 10 silver. The jewelry store is going to have 20 items. They both have to be near a road. So other than that, we pretty much built everything on here except those 2 items. So maybe it will be a simple build. Let's go back and look at their picture again. Okay, so I'm going back to the Discord forum, and here's the little picture, and I'm making my own copy of it. This is the picture of what gets loaded where. So you can see we just built my first wire mill. I guess I need 2 of those, and I'll need at least 2 jewelry crafting tables. Actually, maybe 3. And I don't see anything on here about a jewelry store. So maybe that's for next week. Who knows? I'll have to ask that in the Discord as well. So if the goal this week is to build chandelier earrings, it looks like you only need a jewelry crafting table to do that. So let's go back and read what the meta is for this week. Oh, so yeah, if I would have read this before, I mean, this kind of tells you stuff that I was just kind of guessing at. I prefer guessing sometimes. So there's our copper panning site, silver panning site, panner house, etc., etc. And the jewelry store, it says, stores copper jump ring, silver jump ring, and Chandler earrings. So it's really a storage unit. So I don't know why they call it a store. Apparently it doesn't create anything, it just stores things. And why didn't they put that on their little picture? I don't know. I don't like their picture. Okay. So we will need probably 3 crafting tables and a jewelry store to hold the jewelry so that it doesn't get thrown away. I'm going to be working on that. I'll come back in an hour. I actually have Hebrew class that I teach on Monday and Wednesdays, biblical Hebrew. So I got to go do that right now on Zoom, and I will return in a little while. I just wanted to notice one more thing. The one thing that does use energy is the wire mill. Looks like the crafting table doesn't. Okay, so you want some energy by your wire mills, some passive energy. And it does take 10 copper to actually build your wire mill. So that means you're probably going to have to turn off your forge that's burning all your copper up so that you'll be able to make that mill. Okay, I'm back and I'm watching what happens here. I made a mistake earlier. I said that you need 10 copper, but it's actually 10 copper ores. I mean, no, sorry, 10 finished coppers. It's so confusing. So now notice where the coppers went. They went into the warehouse. A while ago, my warehouse was full of other stupid things, so I just flushed it. And now my copper ores are going in there. And see, now the builder guy, that's my fast builder guy, he's taking that ore now to the what's it called again, the wire mill. And so I'm just waiting on 10 coppers now to get made here and transferred to the warehouse. So raw ore goes into this type of a house, which is our new house or new storage called the ore storage. But once the ore is refined in the forge, is that the right word? Yes. Then it just goes to the warehouse, just like a uniform or a copper, I mean, or like a wool, sorry, a wool yarn would go there. I think I'll need another little forge going on here. I'll do that off video though. Okay, a little time has passed and I built another warehouse here and these two, what do they call them again? Wire mills. I'm surprised they didn't call one of these a smelter because maybe that's a term I've seen in other games, smelter. Well, it says smelting copper, but these are called, what are they called again? Not furnaces. They're not called they're forges. So a forge does smelting instead of doing forging. That seems a little weird too. Okay, so I have my two wire mills here. One's doing copper wire and one is doing silver wire. And so here I put it in a little warehouse and he's grabbing the wires that come out of there because it's the closest warehouse. And I built a lot more copper to get these two buildings going. And now that the buildings have been built, I think I probably need to switch a few of these over to, ooh, I keep forgetting, silver is a, see, that's weird. I'm used to be able to just say craft and switch to silver, but remember, silver is actually a different critter. I did put one silver down, I mean, one of these panning sites down by the water, and it seems to have no effect whatsoever on the trees. So I guess there's not a dirtiness or a shade factor involved because the trees were growing just as fast as always. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of a few of my cab vines here, Cabernet vines, and I will build some silver panning over here. I also built a bunch more of the panner houses, whatever these were called. Panner house, yeah, because now that I got all these little panning sites, they all need workers to basically grab the ore and take to these special warehouses over here. So I'll come back in a minute. I'm going to put some silver mines over here, and then we're going to go build our jewelry table. So when we build our jewelry table, it's going to take 10 copper and 10 silver and 10 lumber. So that's going to take a while to build unless I have a lot more silver getting forged right now. Okay, so I put all these little silver mines over here. I think it's 1 copper, the rest are silver. Again, by looking at them, it's really impossible that I can see the difference. I started my jewelry store right here, which is going to be a storage, I think, for the jewelry. It's going to need 20 wood. I built, I think, 2 or 3 more panner houses and 2 more forges here. So all that is kind of in progress right now. Okay, so if you zoom in on these, you can see the slight difference. The copper is more brown and the silver is more gray. Okay, or more silverish. So that's how you can tell the difference. You kind of have to zoom to see that. I don't know how well it will. Once you get to be about that small, to me, the colors are, I can still see the difference now that I know it, but it's still very hard to see the difference. And here I already ran into a problem where it's starting to store my excess energy batteries in this warehouse. So I made sure my auto sell on my batteries was a lot lower so I would automatically sell them rather than fill up all my warehouses with batteries, which I really don't need. Actually, unless I'm building something, I can probably turn off the battery creation here. Say craft stop making batteries. Okay, so I'm ready to build my jewelry table. Oh, here's that little jewelry store. Nothing in it yet. So let's build the first jewelry table. I'm going to put it across from these. So I'm having trouble with the words tonight. The wire mills. The wire mills. Let's go over here, find jewelry page and crafting table. It takes a lot of money and a lot of resources. So I'm going to stick the first one right here. Looking in my warehouse here, I do have 21 silver, but I have almost no copper right now because all the copper is going into this wire mill. So I'm going to have to turn the wire mill off until I get my jewelry table built. The other thing I did off video, I got rid of almost all my Cabernet vines that were growing over here. Now, please notice that these wire mills do use one battery or one energy. So that's one reason I put them over here by the power plants. Get that passively. And I did spend money today on this new refinery here. So this, I believe, is the Epic. Yeah, the one that's more rare than rare, if you can say that, the better one. And what you notice what I did is I got rid of my other refinery and I put it next to my haunted house. And it is now making gasoline directly from crude oil, and I don't have to have any petroleum anymore. And so it frees up one space where the other refinery was, but it still needs 4 units of energy. So you could do something like a refinery, and then if you didn't have a road there, you could put a solar panel or a Tesla coil beside it to give it the last unit of energy. But I don't think it's going to hurt having the 2 power plants here. So right now it's getting 3 from this one, and then this one gives what? I think it's 4, 3, 2. So it's getting, I think, 2 from that one. Oh, it's 3, sorry, it's 3, 2, 1. So yeah, anyway, it's getting 4 from these 2 power plants. And it freed me up a space. And it saves having to warehouse and walk back and forth for the petroleum. And I think the gas will actually generate a little bit faster. And when I do my quick start or my rush, I think that will make the rush a little bit easier, faster too, because it won't require as much energy as making regular gasoline, which is 6. Because usually the hardest thing to build is the power plants because they cost more money when you're at the beginning of the game. Here's my little jewelry crafting table. I've got all the silver I needed for it, but now I'm still waiting on 2 coppers. Another small critique I would say is these 2 buildings look very similar. This is the panner house, which is the worker that goes fetches the panned copper or the ores, and this is the storage house. What do they call it? I forget the name of it already. The ore storage. They look so much the same. The door is a little different, and the windows are a little different. And actually, the point of the house is just a little bit different. So I'm going to click over here. So if you compare this guy here with the door facing my cursor and this guy here, this one has more like a human door. This has more like a barn door or more of a, maybe like a garage door. And this one has a round window at the top. This one has a round window lower. But those 2 buildings are way too similar. Similar paint and everything. So they're a little bit hard to tell apart. Oh, also the chimneys. I guess you have a red chimney on the worker houses. Another little thing. Oh, now my little jewelry table is ready. So let's do right here, craft, and see what we make. And we're supposed to make these chandelier earrings this week. And I understand the wire, but what are these 2 things? Copper jump ring and the silver jump ring. Okay, so apparently I don't, oh, here I see. Copper jump ring, silver jump ring. Okay, so I have to use the jewelry house to really make all 3 of these items. So I am going to have to build 2 more at least minimum jewelry tables to keep this thing moving along smoothly. So since this is the first one, I want to make the lowest level item, which is probably the copper jump ring. And, I'm probably going to have to add some more of these wiring houses eventually, and I will do that. But first, I just want to show you the basics of how to build the main meta product, which is the Chandelier earring. I'm going to build two more of these jewelry tables. The first copper jump ring was made, and it is stored in the jewelry store, which is what I was kind of guessing it might be. So I think everything you make in the jewelry tables is probably going to be stored in the jewelry store. Okay, so I'm going to have to come back again in another hour or so. I have another class, except this time I'm the student, not the teacher, and a different class. And so I'm waiting on these two jewelry tables to be completed. I might go ahead and play with that while I'm in the class, because again, it's a Zoom and I can do that without the teacher knowing, right? So that's what I'm doing, and then I'll get all three of these going. I'll get another couple of wire mills going over here, and we'll have at least a little bit of production. And then tomorrow in the real game, my goal will be to just like double or triple my production that I'm doing now. One thing about this game is you're not going to need any farmers at all. You're not going to need any red storage units. You're not going to need any farmers or farm tractors. Um, so I think again, it looks like it's going to be a rather easy layout to do. So anyway, we'll have more comments on it when I return. Okay, so I'm done with that class, and you see I added a lot more of these panner buildings. And here are my three jewelry tables again. I added a second jewelry store to make sure I'd have room to store up to 20, 30, 40 items if I need to. And the chandelier earrings have been sold already, I think. I'll show you the price in just a second when my truck comes back. There's our little truck. We can click that and do sell. And even though I don't have 10 items, you can see it's $827,400. I forget, I don't know what the stars are, but that's how much you get when you sell a set of 10 chandelier earrings. Now, the rest of the game, as always, is just balancing everything. And I think that's still my weakness in general. Like how many what do you call these, panning pawns do you have? How many copper ones you have? How many of these copper wires and forges you need of silver and gold, each one? And, are three tables enough? Or maybe you're going to need to double that and have six, or maybe an odd number like seven. I'm not sure yet. And you're just going to have to kind of watch your inventories and what's coming out of these things, and then, tune it, increase and decrease different things. I still have all these farmer houses here. I hate to just destroy those because next week I might be using the same town for something else. So you'll need logger houses. Actually, you don't need much lumber in this game. You need lumber when you build some of these buildings, but once everything's built, you really don't need lumber. So you can probably shut down your lumber mill at some point. You need wool. I mean, you need a wood for a lot of things. Like every one of these, I think, takes a wood. It's going to be kind of a wood-consuming game. Hard to even find one now that's not. That's why I have to build more panner houses, I think, because see, all these guys are ready to be picked up, and nobody's picking them up yet. So, or they're working on these down here instead. It's really hard to find one that's waiting on wood. It's easier to put a new one down. Anyway, keep reading the Discord and the rules of this game, but pretty much this is this is not again a perfect design by any means. The main thing is to put your um, copper and silver wire mills next to some kind of power source where you get energy passively, and make sure you put these things somewhere near water. So remember, the river gives you 5 waters, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So really, you could put 5 levels of these panning ponds or panning sites right next to river, right in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then keep your trees over here in one corner or something like that. That's why I have these water towers here, because the trees need 5 water, and so the second row doesn't get 5, only gets 4, and therefore I supplement it with these water towers. Whereas over here, if I got rid of these trees and just put all these ponds, I wouldn't need to supplement with extra water there. Also, make sure you watch your warehouses. Like this one's full here. 19 out of 20 items. It was full a second ago. Copper wire and silver wire. And the overflow has been going over here. I got to make sure I don't overfill it with energy. So I might need to even lower my cell on my energy, so I make sure I always have enough space, or I might just need to build another warehouse. There's a warehouse over here on the left, tall one that holds 60 items, so it's got plenty of room. And it's mostly holding the gold, the copper, and the silver coming out of the forges. You can see right now I have almost all silver and no copper in there. So that would probably imply that I need a little more copper. And then over here, see, I'm waiting on copper to make copper wire. That copper wire is being made. The silver wire, though, shouldn't be waiting on anything. So you need 2 silver wire to make one of those. And you need 2 copper, so that's the same numbers. Where the numbers are different is actually here. Let's take a look at these numbers again. The silver ring, no, they take the same. They only take 1 wire each. But here's the trick. This last thing, Chandelier earrings, it takes 10. Let's get the zoom in on that here. Oh, there's no zoom. Okay, I guess that's 10 copper, 5 silver jump rings, whatever that means, and then 2 silver wires. So you got to think how much silver you need, how much copper. So you're really going to need, it's kind of balanced actually, but so yeah, yes, you need a little more copper than you do silver there. So I might need to add a few copper mines and or get rid of, I think I'll get rid of these trees here and I'll put some copper mines over there. So anyway, that's my thoughts on how to do, not how to do the build so much, but just what each building does. So I think if you watch this video, you're now familiar with each of the new assets or buildings that come with this new build. And then you'll be able to build your town pretty easily. Just remember, put your trees and your panning ponds or panning sites next to water. Put your wire guys next to some energy, and then just kind of plan it out that way. So that's been Neil Walters. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great week.